Shalom, shalom, everybody. Welcome to Torah is for Everyone. Tonight we're going to be looking at Toledot. And I was thinking about why we read the Torah. And do we have a right to discuss it? We're not scholars. We're not PhD professors. But you know what? When it was written to whom? To simple people, most of whom couldn't read. They had been slaves who were freed from their Egyptian taskmasters. Is the message as complicated as very educated people make it out to be? There were no rabbis to interpret it then. So how can we today make any sense of it? The most important thing for us is to step back, to seek out its principles that we read in the pages of the Torah, which were given to a people who spoke another language and another culture and in ancient times. So we have to really take a look at all those criteria. And once we discover these principles, then we can learn and work at applying them to our lives at any time, in any era. And if we are, and even if we are more of the so-called sophisticated types, these principles show us how to make wise choices, not only for ourselves, but also for those in our circle of influence. So I'm going to ask you, if a thought, as we're reading, if a thought or an idea pops into your head about what we are reading, don't be afraid to share it. There's nothing stupid, okay? Don't be afraid. Because remember, God can speak through anyone, even a donkey. So now I'm going to share the screen so we can read it. Jerry, would you like to begin?
Okay.
Hold on, let me move it up. Can you see?
This is the story of Isaac, son of Abraham. Abraham begot Isaac. Isaac was 40 years old when he took to wife Rebekah, daughter of Bethuel, the Aramean of Pandam Aram, sister of Laban, the Aramean.
So remember, he was 40 years old at this point. His mother, Sarah, died when he was 37. So here we have a period of 3 years since the servant went, that we read last week, to go and find him a wife. So now he's 40.
Isaac pleaded with Hashem on behalf of his wife because she was barren. And Hashem responded to his plea, and his wife Rebekah conceived.
Now it sounds as if this happened immediately, but we're going to see how old Isaac was when she finally got pregnant.
But the children struggled in her womb, and she said, "If so, why do I exist?" She went to inquire of Hashem, and Hashem answered her, "Two nations are in your womb, two separate peoples shall issue from your body. One people shall be mightier than the other, and the older shall serve the younger."
So here God is speaking to her, and he's telling her, because the two babies, for anyone who's ever had a baby in their womb, they know what it's like when the baby kicks. But these two kids were kicking like crazy, was driving her nuts. And she, remember, she had come from a family, she had come from a place where they didn't understand about the one God. But she went to, it says here, she went to inquire of God. So we see that Isaac must have told her about God. And two nations are in your wombs. So this is a revelation. This is a prophecy of what's going to happen. But you're going to see a little later on, she never shared it with Isaac.
When her time came to give birth, it was at hand. There were twins in her womb. The first one emerged red, like a hairy mantle all over, so they named him Esau or Esau. Then his brother emerged, holding on to the heel of Esau, so they named him Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when they were born.
So here you have a period of 20 years have gone by. We read it in 4 verses, but it's a period of 20 years.
When the boys grew up, Esau became a skillful hunter, a man of the outdoors, but Jacob became a mild man, raising livestock.
So it says here, he was Yaakov, Ish Tam. And Ish Tam we've read before. And Ish Tam was a mild-mannered man, a man without guile. And this expression, it says Yoshev Ohalim. It means he was a sitter in tents. It was an idiomatic expression basically for a shepherd.
Isaac favored Esau because he had a taste for gain, but Rebekah favored Jacob. Once, when Jacob was cooking a stew, Esau came in from the open famished. And Esau said to Jacob, "Give me some of that red stuff to gulp down, for I am famished," which is why he was named Edom. Jacob said, "First, sell me your birthright." And Esau said, "I am at the point of death. So of what use is my birthright to me?"
So we see several things from what we've read. We see that we have two different types of men. Esau was a hunter. Jacob was like a farmer, or he raised livestock. I remember reading a book about the hunter children and the farmer children. All of them were being put into a school so that they would learn. They were going into the industrial age, but two children like these are very different. One loved Isaac, loved Esau. He was the first one also, and in psychology they tell you how very often the first child belongs to the father, and Rebekah favored Jacob, who was the second, and this is also very typical where the mother favors the second one. But the danger lies in a family when this favoritism is overt, where they show it. It leads for a dysfunctional family. And we're very good at that in Jewish community. So it's obvious that the birthright didn't mean very much to Esau. He was ready to give it up for a bowl of soup.
But Jacob said, "Swear to me first." So he swore to him and sold his birthright to Jacob. Jacob then gave Esau bread and lentil soup. He ate and drank, and he rose and went away. Thus did Esau spurn the birthright.
So there
Peggy,
was, yes,
just remind me exactly at that time what the birthright entailed. Was it that the inheritance, all of that went to them, or?
yes, the double inheritance would go to the first son. But not only that, it would ensure the continuation of the line. And this was given to Jacob, put into his heart. And it's probably why, there was a prediction at the time of birth that Esau would serve the younger one. So God knew from the outset who would have the desire for God's blessing and who would despise this birthright. It seems that Esau was more worried about his own personal appetite than about his birthright. And that is the blessing of God. Only God could have done that. But it is more, there was the point of double inheritance, but in this case, it had more also of a spiritual nature. Mary, do you want to continue, Jerry?
Just a little more. There
Sure,
was
go
famine
ahead.
in the land. There was famine in the land aside from the previous famine that occurred in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went to Abimelech, king of the Philistines, in Gerar.
Remember when Abraham went to Abimelech also? There was a famine. It's amazing how things repeat themselves in the Torah.
Hashem appeared to him and said, "Do not go down to Egypt. Stay in the land which I point out to you."
So he didn't, although Abraham did. The one of the things that we know about Isaac is that he's the only one of the forefathers who never left his area. He always stayed close by.
Reside in this land, and I will be with you and bless you. I will assign all these lands to you and to your heirs, fulfilling the oath that I swore to your father Abraham. I will make your heirs as numerous as the stars of heaven, and assign to your heirs all these lands, so that all the nations of the earth shall bless themselves by your heirs, inasmuch as Abraham obeyed me and kept my charge, my commandments, my laws, and my teachings.
But here, when we read the Hebrew, it says Shema, like really hear, Avraham. So Abraham heard Bekoli, my voice. It's so much stronger in the Hebrew. And he kept the commandments. And we would wonder, how could he have kept his commandments? We haven't gotten the commandments yet, and his laws and his teaching. Hukim, and it says in Torah, we didn't have these things yet. Moshe hadn't written them yet. But so it's obvious for us. Remember, we're not to take everything at face value. We have to step back and see, what is it saying? So from this, we can understand that when God breathed his ruach into humanity, he put his commandments, his hukim, his mishpatim, his Torah into our hearts. We already know inside what is right and what is wrong. And then when we read it in the Torah, it instills it even at a deeper level, much stronger. And then we really learn how to keep it. It's like it really takes hold.
So Isaac stayed in Gerar. When the local leaders asked him about his wife, he said, "She is my sister." For he was afraid to say my wife, thinking the local leaders might kill me on account of Rebekah, for she is beautiful.
So who did that? Abraham did that with Sarah. Exactly the same thing, except that Isaac didn't ask Rebekah to lie for him. He just told him. So it's a little better than it was in the last generation.
When some time had passed, Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked out the window, saw Isaac fondling his wife Rebekah. Abimelech sent for Isaac and said, "So she is your wife. Why then did you say she is my sister?" Isaac said to him, "Because I thought I might lose my life on account of her."
Which was very typical in those days. He might have done exactly that.
Abimelech said, "What have you done to us? One of the men might have lain with your wife, and you would have brought guilt upon us." Abimelech then charged all his people, saying, "Anyone who molests this man or his wife shall be put to death." Isaac sowed in that land and reaped 100-fold the same year. Hashem blessed him. And the man grew richer and richer until he was very wealthy. He acquired flocks and herds and a large household, so that the Philistines envied him. And the Philistines stopped up all the wells which his father's servants had dug in the days of his father Abraham, filling them with earth.
So we see the same thing has happened, this same pattern. When our people, God blesses, it says Isaac sowed in that land, like all the rest, but he reaped 100-fold because God had blessed him. When we are blessed and we prosper until we are wealthy, we need to stop and thank our God, because God does that. And it says here, and so the Philistines envied him. And this is exactly what has happened to our people throughout the generations. When we prosper, the people envy us and they get upset, but they don't understand that it's not us who have done that, it's our God. We are the representations of God on this planet.
And Abimelech said to Isaac, "Go away from us, for you have become far too big for us." So Isaac departed from there and encamped in the Wadi of Gerar, where he settled. Isaac dug anew the wells which had been dug in the days of his father Abraham, and which the Philistines had stopped up after Abraham's death. And he gave them the same names that his father had given them. You continue when you want, Peggy.
But look at this mentality. Isaac dug the wells again. which had been dug in the days of, of his father Abraham. The Philistine stopped up these wells. Why wouldn't they have used them? Why would they stop up wells when they're living in the desert and their animals would have needed this? This is a mentality that seems to be pervasive among these cultures. I remember when Ariel Sharon, when he was the prime minister of Israel, and we were told we had to leave. Every last Jew had to get out of Gaza. And they left businesses. I think also in Judea, they left businesses. But I'm not sure. I won't swear by that. They left not only businesses, but they left farmland and that had been cultivated. And what did these people do who took over? They burnt them. They didn't use them. They destroyed everything that comes into their hands. It just doesn't make any sense. All in the name of envy and hate. But when Isaac's servants, Miriam, would you like to read? Are you okay to read?
Yeah. But when Isaac's servants, digging in the wadi, found there a well of spring water, the herdsmen of Gerar quarreled with Isaac's herdsmen, saying, "The water is ours." He named that well, he named that well Esek, because they contended with him. And when they dug another well, they disputed over that one also. So he named it Sirna. Sitna. Sorry, what's that?
I'm going to put you on mute, Jerry. Okay, go ahead.
He moved from there and dug yet another well, and they did not quarrel over it. So he called it Rehoboth, saying, "Now at last Hashem has granted us ample space to increase in the land." From there he went up to Beersheba.
It's amazing to me that because we have friends who live in Beersheba. Look how old.
Yeah, I know
Like,
it's that's
yes, it's okay. You don't have
yeah.
to name it.
Okay.
Okay.
That night Hashem appeared to him and said, "I am the God of your father Abraham. Fear not, for I am with you, and I will bless you and increase your offspring for the sake of my servant Abraham." So he built an altar there and invoked Hashem by name. I always love when I hear that.
Whenever hear that, but not only that, it says, hang on a second, the word for it wasn't evoked. Here, he made a mizbeach. He called out, he cried out, it's more than like he cried out for the name, this name, which B'Shem Yud He Vav He, they knew how to pronounce it, and it's like when we thank God or we cry out to him in anguish, or we've been given that right. Can you imagine? We have that ability. He built an altar there. It says here, God is speaking to him. Don't be afraid. I am with you. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we hear that voice?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. But you know what?
Some people do actually.
Yeah, we do. And we do in many ways, even in things that happen to us, or in a still small voice, or a thought, or an instinct. We do hear it. We just have to quieten our own minds that are constantly living in fear. We have to stop that because this is a constant in the Torah. I am the God of your father Abraham. Do not fear, I am with you. He tells us that over and over again. So whenever we fear, we have to stop and think, wait a minute. God told that to Abraham. He told it to Isaac. He told it to Jacob. He told it to Joshua, to Moses, to all our forefathers. I will bless you. I will increase you. So, and then we can call on his name. Look at the gift that he's given us. It's unbelievable.
Okay, well,
Here, Isaac.
the servants start digging a well.
No, here,
And-
Isaac pitched.
Oh, yes. Isaac pitched his tent there, and his servants started digging a well. And Abimelech came to him from Gerar with Ahuzat, his counselor, and Phicol, chief of his troops. Isaac said to them, "Why have you come to me, seeing that you have been hostile to me and have driven me away from you?" And they said, "We now see plainly that Hashem has been with you, and we thought, let there be a sworn treaty between our two parties, between you and us. Let us make a pact with you, that you will not do us harm, just as we have not molested you, but have always dealt kindly with you, and sent you away in peace. From now on, be you blessed of Hashem."
So these people too, saw what God had done. That's why they wanted to make a pact. But later, when we will be living in the land that God has given us, he will tell us, do not make a covenant with the people who are there. Do not marry their wives. Do not take their sons for your daughters. I mean, do not marry their daughters, and do not intermarry, because they will take you away from the one God, because they were filled with paganism.
Then he made for them a feast, and they ate and drank. Early in the morning, they exchanged oaths. Isaac then bade them farewell, and they departed from him in peace. That same day, Isaac's servants came and told him about the well they had dug, and said to him, "We have found water." He named it Shiva or Shiba.
It's actually Shiva, which is the oath.
Okay, Shiva.
Yeah,
Therefore, the name of the city is Beersheba to this day.
yeah. Or Beersheba. Yeah.
Beersheba. When Esau was 40 years old, he took to wife Judith, daughter of Beeri the Hittite, and Baitmat, daughter of Elon the Hittite. And they were a source of bitterness to Isaac and Rebekah.
It was one of the reasons that Abraham sent his servant to go to the land where he was born, to bring a wife back here so she could be taught. He didn't want them to marry. He didn't want Isaac to marry the women in that area, the Hittites, the Canaanites, and this is exactly why they would be a source of bitterness to Isaac and Rebekah, but not only to them, but to every generation that passed after them, because they would, because of what happened to Esau, how he was separated from Jacob, and how Jacob was the one who was chosen. It's almost like these when you hear of the feuds that take place in families, and they continue generation after generation, long after people even remember why they fought. But these women would hold on to that bitterness, and not only that, they would keep their Canaanite and their Hittite religion, and amongst in a civilization that was supposed to be for the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
When Isaac was old and his eyes were too dim to see, he called his older son Esau and said to him, "My son." He answered, "Here I am."
Hineni.
And he said, "I am old now, and I do not know how soon I may die. Take your gear, your quiver and bow, and go out into the open and hunt me some game. Then prepare a dish for me, much as I like, and bring it to me to eat, so that I may give you my innermost blessing before I die." Rebekah had been listening as Isaac spoke to his son Esau. When Esau had gone out into the open to hunt game to bring home, Rebekah said to her son Jacob, "I overheard your father speaking to your brother Esau, saying..."
It sounds like, I'm going to interrupt before I go on. It says Rebekah had been listening as Isaac spoke to his son Esau, in the same way that Sarah was listening when the angels came to tell Abraham that the next following year she would have a child. It seems that it was very easy to listen in those days.
"Bring me some game and prepare a dish for me to eat, that I may bless you with Hashem's approval before I die. Now, my son, listen carefully as I instruct you. Go Go to the flock and fetch me 2 choice kids, and I will make of them a dish for your father such as he likes. Then take it to your father to eat, in order that he may bless you before he dies. Jacob answered his mother Rebekah, but my brother Esau is a hairy man, and I am smooth-haired skin. If my father touches me, I shall appear to him as a trickster, and bring upon myself a curse, not a blessing. But his mother said to him, Your curse, my son, be upon me. Just do as I say, and go fetch them for me.
We have to be so careful what we say. You know, it's interesting because everybody calls Jacob this trickster, and yet here he's telling his mother, I don't want to do that. You know, I could be caught. I'll bring upon myself a curse. And his mother takes the curse on her. That's why after this, we don't hear about her again. Rebecca disappears off the scene. She may have died.
I guess what would have happened, as we've talked about before, is God would have done what was necessary to make sure that Jacob got the blessing.
Exactly. It's like Sarah taking Hagar to Abraham. When we do take things upon ourselves, that's when we get into trouble.
But his mother said to him, okay, be upon me, and then he got them and brought them to his mother, and his mother prepared a dish such as his father liked. Rebekah then took the best clothes of her older son Esau, which were there in the house, and had her younger son Jacob put them on. And she covered his hands and the hairless part of his neck with the skins of the kids. Then she put in the hands of her son Jacob the dish and the bread that she had prepared. He went to his father and said, Father. And he said, Yes, which of my sons are you? Jacob said to his father, I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you told me. Pray sit up and eat of my game, that you may give me your innermost blessing. Isaac said to his son, How did you succeed so quickly, my son? And he said, Because your God, Hashem, granted me good fortune. He says, Your God, not his God.
Exactly.
Isaac said to Jacob, Come closer that I may feel you, my son, whether you are really my son Esau or not. I guess he's suspicious. Maybe he hears something in the voice. So Jacob drew close to his father Isaac, who felt him and wondered. The voice is the voice of Jacob, yet the hands are the hands of Esau. He did not recognize him because his hands were hairy like those of his brother Esau, and so he blessed him. He asked, Are you really my son Esau? And when he said, I am, he said, Serve me and let me eat of my son's game, that I may give you my innermost blessing. So he served him, and he ate, and he brought him wine, and he drank. Then his father Isaac said to him, Come closer and kiss me, my son. And he went up and kissed him, and he smelled his clothes, and he blessed him, saying, Ah, the smell of my son is like the smell of the fields that Hashem has blessed. May God give you of the dew of heaven and the fat of the earth, abundance of new grain and wine. Let people serve you and nations bow to you. Be master over your brothers, and let your mother's sons bow to you. Cursed be they who curse you, blessed they who bless you.
And that still is to today. But you were right. It's amazing how when we say he was an Ish Tam, well, no, that was, but Isaac was the same as Jacob. Isaac was also an Ish Tam. He even though he recognized the voice, he still believed that by what he said. He was very almost naive.
Right. No sooner had Jacob left the presence of his father Isaac, after Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, than his brother Esau came back from his hunt. He too prepared a dish and brought it to his father. And he said to his father, Let my father sit up and eat of his son's game, so that you may give me your innermost blessing. His father Isaac said to him, Who are you? And he said, I am your son Esau, your firstborn. Isaac was seized with very violent trembling. Who was it then, he demanded, that hunted game and brought it to me? Moreover, I ate of it before you came, and I blessed him. Now he must remain blessed. When Esau heard his father's words, he burst into wild and bitter sobbing and said to his father, Bless me too, father. But he answered, Your brother came with guile and took away your blessing. Esau said, Was he then named Jacob that he might supplant me these 2 times? First he took away my birthright, and now he has taken away my blessing. And he added, Have you not reserved a blessing for me?
Look, first he took away my birthright. He gave his birthright away.
Yeah, right,
He didn't
exactly.
care about it at all.
What is the difference between a birthright and a blessing?
The birthright is the double inheritance. A blessing is a blessing. It's very different.
Double inheritance? Sorry, what's
Yeah, the first child gets the double inheritance,
meaning?
and he get
Double of what?
everything that he has.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's financial as well.
So he gets, what do you mean double of every, you mean whatever's due him, he
Yeah,
gets,
he gets the larger part.
okay.
Yeah. So Isaac answered, saying to Esau, But I have made a master over you, and I've given him all his brothers for servants and sustained him with grain and wine. What then can I do still for you, my son? And Esau said to his father, Have you but one blessing, father? Bless me too. And Esau wept aloud, and his father Isaac answered, See, your abode shall enjoy the fat of the earth and the dew of heaven above. But by your sword you shall live, and you shall serve your brother. But when you grow restive or impatient, you shall break his yoke from your neck. Now Esau harbored a grudge against Jacob because of the blessing which his father had given him. So you can imagine him holding this grudge and going back and telling his wives how this is how this generational hatred would be passed down. And Esau said to himself, Just let the mourning period of my father come, and then I'm going to kill my brother Jacob. And when the words of her older son Esau were told to Rebekah, she sent for her younger son Jacob and said to him, Your brother Esau is consoling himself by planning to kill you. Now, my son, listen to me. Flee at once to Haran, to my brother Laban, and stay with him a while until your brother's fury subsides, until your brother's anger against you subsides, and he forgets what you have done to him. Then I will fetch you from there. Let me not lose you both in one day. And we know that she never fetched him. That's why we know, and we don't hear much about her afterwards. That's why we know she's gone. Rebekah said to Isaac, I am disgusted with my life because of these Hittite women. If Jacob marries a Hittite woman like these from among the native women, what good will my life be to me? So Isaac sent for Jacob and blessed him. He instructed him, saying, You shall not take a wife from among the Canaanite women, just like Abraham told a servant for Isaac. Get up and go to Padam Aram, to the house of Bethuel, to your mother's father, and take a wife there from among the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. May El Shaddai, at this point, the God of heaven was known as El Shaddai because he would be the one who nurtures as I said before, shad means breast. He would breastfeed this newly formed people that he was going to be creating and forming from the rest of the nations. May El Shaddai bless you and make you fertile and numerous, so that you become an assembly of peoples. May you and your offspring be granted the blessing of Abraham, that you may possess the land where you are sojourning, which God assigned to Abraham. Then Isaac sent Jacob off, and he went to Padam Aram, to Laban the son of Bethuel the Aramean, the brother of Rivkah, mother of Jacob and Esau. When Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob, and sent him off to Paddan Aram to take a wife from there, charging him as he blessed him, You shall not take a wife from among the Canaanite women. and that Jacob had obeyed his father and mother, had gone to Paddan Aram, Esau realized that the Canaanite women displeased his father Isaac. So what does he do? So Esau went to Ishmael and took another wife in addition to the wife he had, Mahalat, the daughter of Ishmael, son of Abraham, sister of Nebaot. So he doesn't take a wife from the Canaanites or from the Hittites, but he takes an Egyptian wife, which is almost as bad. So we see,
Although maybe he thought because even God had blessed Ishmael, so maybe he was like a bit closer to their lineage, and or maybe he had that blessing, so maybe he felt that was okay.
yeah, it's very possible. It's hard for us to know, but we see the stage being set right now for what we see happening in the Middle East today. It didn't happen yesterday. Didn't happen before the Holocaust. It didn't happen before the Spanish Inquisition. It didn't happen throughout our history. It began right back then with all these intermarriages, these grudges that were being set up that would be held throughout the ages. So this was not a difficult portion, easy to read, easy to understand, not complicated. And it's a setup of what we know as very dysfunctional families. And I know most of us have dysfunctional families. And God chooses one of us among these families to open our eyes, to bless us, to bring us back to Torah, these simple, beautiful stories that help us understand who we are and how we live our lives.
There's also I was reading the Haftorah portion, and there's something, I don't know, I think I marked it down. I think it's first Malachi verse, okay, wait a minute. It was first
Malachi 1, there's only one Malachi. Malachi
No, I mean Malachi 1
chapter 1,
to
1 to
chapter 1 to verse 2, verse 7. And it was in one of them, verse 11, that when, if you have it accessible, this,
yeah, I'll look for it. Okay,
I
Malachi.
think it's verse 1, verse 11.
Okay. He's the last of the prophets. Let me go here. Let me share the screen again. Malachi. Here we go. Here say, I've shown you love, but you ask, how have you shown us love? After all, declares God, Esau is Jacob's brother, but I have accepted Jacob and have rejected Esau. I have made his hills a desolation, his territory a home for beasts of the desert. If Edom, who was Esau, but he was called Edom because red, he was a redhead, thinks, though crushed, we can build the ruins again. Thus says God of hosts, they may build, but I will tear down. And so they will be shown as the region of wickedness, the people damned forever of God. Your eye shall behold it, and you shall declare, great is God beyond the borders of Israel. A son should honor his father, and a slave his master. Now, if I were a father, where would be the honor due me? If I were a master, where would be the reverence due me, says the God of hosts to you, O priests who scorn my name? But you ask, how have we scorned your name? Is this what you wanted to talk
Okay,
about?
okay. Where's, I don't see the verses on it. I think it's,
Further down?
yeah, well, verse 11. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I see the verses. Okay, if only, okay, here, okay. My name is honored. Okay, he's talking about how they have dishonored and the Levites have dishonored God and gone astray. And it says, I think I know what it means, but I want to see what you say. For from where the sun rises to where it sets, my name is honored among the nations, and everywhere, incense and pure oblation are offered to my name. For my name is honored among the nations, said the God of hosts. But you profane it when you say, The table of the sovereign is defiled, and the meat, the food, can be treated with scorn. Just to want to know what it means in verse 11 with the nations, because he's talking about Israel separately, and then he mentions the nations. So could it mean that God always has his people, even amongst the nations?
I was thinking that actually. I was reading that, and I think so.
Because it's not referring to Israel. He's talking how they have defiled.
Right. You offer defiled foods on my altar. He's really angry with us. You
Yeah,
know, we are the ones who turn from our God. We do these things when we are called to a higher standard. When you present a blind animal for sacrifice, it doesn't matter. When you present a lame or sick one, it doesn't matter. Just offer it to your governor. We'll see if he'll accept it. Will he show you favor? Now implore the favor of God. Will compassion be shown to us? This is what you have done. Will any of you be accepted? God of hosts has said, if only you would lock my doors and not kindle fire on my altar to no purpose. I take no pleasure in you, said the God of hosts. I will accept no offering from you. For from where the sun rises to where it sets, my name is honored among the nations.
that's really something.
He
Okay.
has his people everywhere.
That's what I thought. I said, that's
Yes.
almost too amazing
Yeah.
because I don't remember it being here, that there are his people everywhere.
Everywhere. For my name is honored among the nations. And when we profane it, and we get into trouble because we represent him. The table
Right.
of the sovereign is defiled.
Yeah.
A curse on the cheat who has an unblemished male in the flock, but vows and sacrifices a blemished animal to the sovereign. Yeah, it's so true. There are people everywhere in the world who God has chosen. Remember when Elijah was hiding in the cave, running away from Jezebel, and he said, I am all alone. I am the last prophet. And God said, no, I have set apart 7,000 who have not bowed their knee to Baal.
But there he's talking about the nation of Israel, no? Here, I don't remember ever reading this. Well, here, he's not talking about Israel. He's saying the whole world is people
Among,
who, like, I know that, but I
yeah, well,
don't remember.
this is much later. Yes, yes.
Amazing.
Yeah, it is. So, Jared, do you have anything to add before we say good night?
Oh, not for now. Thank you.
You're doing all right?
Thank you for asking. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome. All right, I'm going to call it a night. It was a very simple, beautiful portion, and we'll hear from our rabbi this coming Shabbat. So I want to wish you all a wonderful rest of the week, and I hope that God blesses you as He's blessed Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. May He bless all of us, each and every one of us, in our walk with Him. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you.